When we close our eyes at night and slip into the quiet embrace of sleep, we might believe we're merely turning off the lights of the day. Our body surrenders to stillness, and we drift away, thinking we've entered a state of rest, nothing more. But what if that's only the surface of what's truly happening? Imagine, just beneath the calm, your mind embarking on a journey more vivid, more emotionally charged, and in many ways, more meaningful than your waking life. For those of us who have walked through decades of experience, sleep may no longer feel like a mystery. Yet, science and philosophy are now showing us that it's one of the most extraordinary frontiers of human consciousness, still largely unexplored. Modern neuroscience has revealed that during sleep, especially during REM rapid eye movement, our brain becomes incredibly active. It's not shutting down, it's lighting up. Functional MRI scans show that while the prefrontal cortex, responsible for logic and decision-making, dims its activity, the areas involved in emotion, memory, and visualization spark into a near-celestial dance. The limbic system, the amygdala, and the occipital lobes surge with energy, creating landscapes, voices, faces, and entire stories within our minds. Have you ever awakened from a dream so real you could still feel the breeze on your skin or the echo of a long-lost voice? That's not mere imagination. It's evidence that our consciousness, even while the body rests, continues to perceive and participate in experiences we don't fully understand. And this is where the philosophy begins to speak. Throughout history, sages, monks, and seekers have believed that sleep is not the absence of consciousness, but a gateway into another form of perception. Carl Jung called dreams the royal road to the unconscious, suggesting that what we see at night is not random but the language of the deeper self. In ancient Egypt, priests saw dreams as messages from the gods, while Native American traditions view the dream world as a realm where spirits and ancestors speak truths beyond the physical. What's truly remarkable is how these ancient beliefs are finding validation in contemporary research. For instance, studies from the University of Wisconsin show that the brain not only processes emotions during sleep but also actively integrates them, offering clarity and balance by morning. This might explain why, after a good night's sleep, problems feel less overwhelming or why certain emotional weights suddenly feel lighter. In a very real way, your brain is doing emotional housekeeping while you sleep, sorting through the clutter and refreshing your inner world. Now imagine the practical power in understanding this. Sleep is not just recovery, it's renewal. It's a daily opportunity to reset emotionally, organize cognitively, and even reflect spiritually. By simply honoring your sleep as a sacred time, you can improve your mental clarity, emotional resilience, and even reduce the risk of degenerative conditions. The Harvard Medical School has shown that deep sleep helps clear beta-amyloid plaques from the brain, one of the key factors in Alzheimer's disease. For those of us navigating the golden years, this knowledge isn't just fascinating, it's empowering. So tonight, when you lay your head down, consider it not an ending but an invitation. Close your eyes not as someone retreating from the world, but as someone about to step into a different kind of wisdom. You don't need to believe in mysticism to appreciate that your consciousness is far more expansive than you've been taught. All you need is curiosity and the willingness to listen to the stories your mind tells when it's free of the day's noise. And if you feel inspired, begin a simple practice. Keep a small notebook by your bed. Each morning, write one detail from your dreams, no matter how faint or fragmented. Over time, you may start to notice patterns, emotions, or images that connect directly with your life. This isn't about decoding mysteries. It's about reconnecting with a part of yourself that is quietly, gently, asking to be heard. Sleep is not silence. It is a conversation with your deeper self, and it begins the moment you choose to listen. If you've ever awakened from a dream that felt more vivid than your memories, more emotionally powerful than your waking life, you're not alone and you're not imagining things. In fact, the science behind dreaming reveals something profoundly beautiful and astonishing about how our minds work when the world quiets down. As the body slips into rest, the brain does not sleep. It shifts gears. During REM sleep, the stage when most dreaming occurs, regions of the brain associated with emotions and visualization, the amygdala and the occipital cortex, become intensely active, glowing like lanterns in the dark. Meanwhile, the logical, planning part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, slows down. This shift in activity, backed by imaging studies from institutions like Harvard and Stanford, explains why dreams often defy the rules of logic yet feel emotionally true, almost sacred. It is as if the mind is allowed, for a few hours each night, to speak a language that goes beyond words and rational thought. This neurological pattern gives us a scientific foundation for something many philosophical traditions have suggested for centuries: that there is a deeper intelligence at play during our sleep. It is no wonder that mystics across cultures have described dreams as portals to a higher realm. But now we can see that it's not just metaphor. Our own brain provides the theater, the characters, the emotions, and the script, shaped by memories and sensations but woven into something entirely new. This is not a passive process. It is deeply purposeful. During these hours of dreaming, the brain consolidates memories, processes emotions, and even rehearses future scenarios. Dr. Matthew Walker, a leading neuroscientist in the field of sleep, has shown through rigorous study that dreaming enhances problem-solving abilities and boosts creativity. That strange dream you had where you were flying over a vast canyon might not have been random. It could have been your brain rehearsing freedom, reframing fear, or digesting the heavy emotion of a decision made days before. Now here's something even more extraordinary. The brain also produces a natural chemical during sleep known as DMT, or dimethyltryptamine, which researchers at Johns Hopkins University and other centers have connected to mystical and near-death experiences. In small doses released naturally during REM, DMT may help generate those surreal, profound dream experiences, the ones where you speak to a long-lost loved one or find yourself in a place you've never seen but instantly recognize. Whether you interpret this through science or soul, the message is the same. Your sleeping mind is not disconnected. It is exploring, integrating, and at times expanding. It is reaching toward the edges of what you know and gently guiding you toward what you don't yet understand. And what does this mean for you practically today? It means your sleep is not idle. It is alive with meaning. By paying attention to your dreams, by simply respecting them, you can begin to form a new relationship with your mind and your inner world. Keep a dream journal. Reflect in the morning, even for 2 minutes. Talk about your dreams with someone you trust. These are not whimsical practices. They are deeply grounding rituals that reconnect you with the wholeness of your experience. In your later years, when time feels more precious and memories more sacred, dreaming can become a form of gentle reflection, even healing. It is your mind's quiet way of telling you that your story is still being written not just in waking life, but in the language of symbols, emotions, and visions that emerge every night beneath closed eyes. So let us not treat sleep as merely the end of a day. Let us treat it as a beginning, a journey inward, guided by science and inspired by wonder. There is a quiet kind of magic that happens when the body sleeps but the mind begins to roam across landscapes we have never walked in waking life. For those of us who have lived long enough to gather the weight of memories, regrets, joys, and lessons, these nighttime journeys can feel like more than dreams. They can feel like visits to a deeper truth. One of the most mysterious and intriguing aspects of sleep is the occurrence of what scientists call precognitive dreams, visions or experiences that seem to anticipate future events. While mainstream science often treads cautiously around this subject, the reports are too frequent and too consistent to ignore. The case of President Abraham Lincoln dreaming of his own death days before his assassination is not just historical lore. It is a documented moment where the boundary between sleep and prophecy appeared to blur. Modern studies in parapsychology, such as those conducted at the Rhine Research Center, continue to gather thousands of similar accounts where people dream of phone calls before they happen, natural disasters before they strike, or reunions before they are planned. The implications of this are not only philosophical, they are deeply human. If consciousness during sleep can access information beyond linear time, then the mind may not be confined to the present moment. It may instead touch something timeless. Even more grounded in science is the phenomenon of sleep paralysis, which affects millions of people, especially in older populations. During this state, you are conscious yet unable to move. Some experience a crushing weight on the chest or a strange presence in the room. Traditionally, medicine has explained this as a misalignment between the mind waking up and the body still being in REM-induced paralysis. While that explanation is physiologically accurate, it does not account for the vivid and shared nature of the experiences people describe. Across cultures and continents, individuals report remarkably similar sensations. Shadowy figures, buzzing vibrations, the feeling of leaving the body. From a philosophical lens, this opens the door to consider whether sleep paralysis is not a malfunction, but a transition, a thin space between states of being. Some call it a threshold moment where the veil between dimensions becomes transparent. While science continues to seek answers, what we do know is that people who experience these episodes often report a lasting change in how they view the world and themselves. There is something transformative, even humbling, about standing at the edge of what you can explain. What makes these phenomena practical is not whether we can explain them completely, but how we choose to respond to them. You don't need to chase the paranormal to benefit from these insights. Instead, begin by listening more carefully to your inner world. Pay attention to the emotions and symbols in your dreams. When fear arises during sleep paralysis, shift your breath, slow your mind, and remind yourself that you are safe and witnessing something extraordinary. If a dream feels like a warning or a gift, reflect on it. Ask what part of your waking life it might be speaking to. This is not superstition, it is self-awareness at its most profound. Science teaches us about the stages of sleep, the chemistry of dreams, and the patterns of the brain. Philosophy reminds us that meaning arises when we give attention to our experiences. And life, as we age, becomes more meaningful when we see every night not as an escape from the day, but as a continuation of our most honest dialogue with ourselves. So tonight and every night, I invite you to close your eyes not just to rest, but to listen to the whispers of time, to the echoes of intuition, and to the possibility that your mind is capable of reaching further than you ever imagined. There comes a moment, usually in the quiet hours of the night, when we wake from a dream and feel as though we've just returned from another lifetime. Perhaps it was a place we've never seen before but felt oddly familiar. Perhaps it was a version of ourselves we no longer remember being or have not yet become. These moments are not just poetic flourishes of the imagination. They are clues pointing toward a deeper truth about the nature of consciousness and reality itself. In the last few decades, theoretical physics has expanded our understanding of the universe, suggesting that time and space are not fixed absolutes but flexible and multi-layered. The theory of the multiverse, once reserved for science fiction, is now being seriously explored by physicists like Dr. Brian Greene and supported by quantum mechanics. It proposes that we live in one of many parallel realities, where countless versions of ourselves exist simultaneously, each shaped by different choices and timelines. If this is true, then our dreams may not merely be symbolic echoes of the subconscious. They could be doors, brief, flickering windows through which our consciousness peers into these alternate versions of life. What's compelling is that this is not just a theory from physics. It resonates with ancient spiritual traditions from across the globe. Indigenous cultures in North and South America have long held that dreams are journeys into other worlds, places where the soul travels to gain wisdom, guidance, or healing. In Tibetan Buddhism, the practice of dream yoga teaches that the dream state is a platform for expanding awareness and approaching enlightenment. These spiritual frameworks were once dismissed by modern science. Yet now, as neuroscience and quantum theory evolve, we find ourselves circling back to similar truths. The architecture of a dream, its strange fluidity, its defiance of time, its emotional intensity bears uncanny resemblance to what physicists call non-local reality, where time is not linear and everything is connected beyond the constraints of physical distance. In this view, dreams are not illusions. They are encounters with a larger field of consciousness that we typically ignore in waking life. Practically speaking, what can we do with this understanding? First, we can begin to treat our dreams with more respect. Instead of brushing them off each morning, we can choose to welcome them, study them, and even work with them. Keep a notebook or voice recorder beside your bed and, upon waking, capture whatever fragments remain. Over time, patterns may emerge, symbols that speak to hidden emotions, places that reappear with meaning, insights that guide you through waking decisions. Second, we can practice mindfulness during the day to strengthen awareness at night. Studies from the University of Adelaide show that mindfulness techniques increase the likelihood of lucid dreaming, where you become aware that you are dreaming and can participate in shaping the experience. Imagine walking through a dream and knowing it, and perhaps even asking your deeper self a question that's been weighing on your heart. That is not fantasy. That is mental freedom. For those of us in later life, this approach is more than intellectually interesting. It is liberating. Our culture often treats aging as a slow retreat from vitality and possibility. But the dream world tells us otherwise. It reminds us that within the mind, exploration never ends. We can continue to grow, to question, to discover even while our bodies rest. Sleep becomes not just a necessity, but a sacred space of renewal and revelation. So tonight, when you lie down, see your bed as more than a place to rest. See it as a vessel, a ship sailing into the mystery of existence, guided by the stars of memory, spirit, and the uncharted possibilities of the multiverse. And as you drift into that other world, do so with a question on your lips and curiosity in your heart. You might just find an answer waiting for you on the other side of the dream. Each night, as we gently drift into sleep, we are offered a rare and powerful opportunity, one that many overlook, but that becomes increasingly meaningful as we grow older and wiser. Sleep is not simply a break from reality or a biological necessity. It is a portal into the deeper mechanics of the mind and spirit, a place where consciousness is allowed to breathe beyond the rules of waking life. Yet one of the most frustrating aspects of dreaming is how easily it slips away. We wake up, the images dissolve, and the feeling that something important just happened vanishes like mist in the morning sun. Scientists have studied this mystery extensively and found that during REM sleep, the hippocampus, the brain's memory storage center, is significantly less active than during waking hours. This biological function explains why dreams often fail to transfer into long-term memory. But there's another layer to consider, one that philosophy and spirituality have explored for centuries. Many ancient teachings suggest that this forgetfulness is not a flaw, but a feature. It acts as a filter, shielding our waking minds from being overwhelmed by experiences too rich, too symbolic, or too vast for everyday consciousness. And yet, some dreams persist. They linger. They return night after night or reappear in new forms over the years, quietly urging us to pay attention. From a practical standpoint, we have more power to engage with these experiences than we think. Neuroscientific research from the University of Montreal has shown that when individuals take the time to write down or speak about their dreams immediately upon waking, dream recall improves dramatically. Just the act of paying attention tells the brain that this content matters. And when we recall our dreams regularly, we begin to notice connections between our fears and our memories, our desires and our decisions. It becomes a kind of inner dialogue, not unlike prayer or meditation, where the self whispers truths that the waking mind often silences. This dialogue is not abstract. It is deeply useful. People who track their dreams often report breakthroughs in creativity, emotional healing, and decision-making. One man recalled a recurring dream about being lost in a forest, only to realize it mirrored the confusion he felt about a difficult health decision. Once he made peace with his fear and chose a path, the dream stopped. Another woman dreamt of water flooding her childhood home again and again until she finally allowed herself to cry about the loss of her mother. These are not just stories. They are examples of how the subconscious mind uses dreams to process and guide. So what can we do now in our daily lives to unlock the wisdom of our sleeping minds? First, set a simple intention before bed. A sentence like, "I am open to remembering my dreams," can act like a key, signaling to your brain that you wish to remain connected across the threshold of sleep. Second, honor the first moments of waking as sacred. Keep a notebook close. Write or record anything that arises, even fragments. Over time, your dream world will begin to open like a familiar path. Third, reflect on patterns or symbols. If water appears often, ask yourself where flow or resistance shows up in your waking life. If you dream of journeys, consider what transitions you may be undergoing internally. Finally, embrace the idea that sleep is not merely unconsciousness, but an invitation to participate in the full spectrum of your mind's capabilities. For those of us who have witnessed the passing of years and seasons, This becomes not just a practice, but a form of legacy, a way of staying deeply alive within, even as the world around us grows quieter. Let us then not go to sleep each night as if we are shutting the book on the day. Let us go to sleep as if we are entering a temple, where our dreams are sacred texts written by the deepest parts of ourselves. Let us listen, remember, and reflect. For in the quiet hours of the night, far from the noise of the world, your soul may be speaking its clearest truths. All you have to do is choose to hear them,